Since we're in a Brook flashback right now, I do wonder if we're going to get more insight on Calico Yorki. If you don't remember, Calico Yorki was the captain of the Roombar Pirates when Brook was a part of it. And I don't really need a full refresh of Calico Yorki's time with Brook, but I do want to find out how he met Brook exactly after the fall of the Hesperia Kingdom, because that seems like a very specific event that would probably be big news in the West Blue. So I wonder, how did Yorki find Brook? How did they become so close? And what's weird about Brook and Yorki in this situation, it's very reminiscent of Jinbei and Fisher Tiger, which is why I am often confronted with the very weird truth that Jinbei, in a lot of ways, is a rerun of Brook's story. Because the reason why I say that is because Brook became the captain of the Roombar Pirates after Yorki got sick, right? But weirdly, Yorki has a bounty poster, but oddly, kind of like Zebek, we don't see what he was actually worth. And this is shown to us in chapter 487. So it's weird that he's given this very specific treatment despite him not ever having a true bounty reveal. So that's another good question. What was Captain Yorki, Calico Yorki, what was he to the West Blue as a pirate? And how big was he in the world during the time of his career? And looking at the sickness that he had, I do wonder if this is a topical illness like the sapphire scale disease or tree fever, because we see him with blotches in the manga. So yeah, what did he come down with actually? What actually brought him into being ill? And we don't know if he died or not, because he just sails off on a different ship and his fate is unknown. And that's when Brook takes over. So I do wonder, are we going to get more insight to his story? But another thing I hope we get a bit more context about concerning Yorki is, what was his style of fighting? Because in chapter 47, we do see him with a sword. So based on him presumably having a very sizable bounty, I would think he was a swordsman, but I'm not really sure. Also, and this is a shot in the dark for sure, I wonder, seeing as how he wears a cowboy hat, is he from the same place as Gil Bastar? I know that's very presumptuous, but it is funny that Gil Bastar's corpse was on Thriller Bark, and Thriller Bark is originally an island from the West Blue. So based on Gil Bastar being from Wanted and now being in One Piece, and seeing as how the area of Wanted was a Western saloon town, I could believe that this is a location in the West Blue. So it would be funny if we found out that Yorki is related to Gil Bastar in some way. Another reason why I think the Roombar Pirates are weirdly cowboy coded is because their Jolly Roger looks like the skull of a sea cow, kind of like Momu. And in chapter 487, they were actually chased by a bull sea cow. So I don't know if there's a connection there, and if so, is there a significance of the sea cow in the West Blue specifically? I wonder if we're ever going to find that out, because if so, that's pretty interesting that Momu's species of sea beast is important out there in a region of the One Piece world. Don't know, but I thought I'd bring that up because I thought that was very interesting, that a sea cow just chases a ship that looks like it has the Jolly Roger of a sea cow skull. And now this is a small aside, and it doesn't really matter, but I always thought this was weird. So in the anime, before we get to Thriller Bark, we have a filler arc, and that filler arc is called the Ice Hunter arc, with Don Achino, right? The big fat guy that has the same powers as Oven, but his power is like body heat, whereas Oven's is regular heat. I found him really cool because he flies around using steam that comes out of his nose. I always thought that was cool. But regardless, in that arc, there is this guy named Puzzle of the Phoenix Pirates. And Puzzle always looked like Calico Yorki to me. Maybe that's a complete fabrication, but I always thought he looked like Yorki. And it's weird because this is right before Thriller Bark starts in the anime. So I do wonder, is Puzzle a filler character going to become canon as a descendant of Calico Yorki? I do wonder. If so, that would be kind of cool, but I doubt that will happen. I just want to bring that up because I've always thought that. Even like back in the day, I always thought that he looked like Yorki. But with that being said, if you are enjoying the video so far, click the like button. And if you want to see more from me, click the subscribe button, followed by that bell so you never miss a video. In addition to, click the hype button because it really does help. With that being said, give me your thoughts and tell your friends about Polypede Waxy.